Okay, so today we're going to be doing a review, tutorial, walkthrough type thing of the new Zombies Cold War map. It's the third one. I'm not going to try to pronounce it and sound like an idiot, but it's the new Zombies map. You know what I'm talking about, alright? And so originally, the plan was to have this just be a walkthrough. I was just going to review and walk through it separately, have a video of just the gameplay with steps laid out. But as this Easter egg is insanely difficult and long, it has taken me until today, the posting of this video, to finish it. So I figured at this point you know how to do it. If you care, you've already done it, and there's other guides out there. That, and I may or may not have forgotten to record the last and probably most important section of the Easter egg, the boss fight. So that being said, I decided that we're just going to stick to doing a review, and if you want to walk through or something like that, there will be the first half of the Easter egg going on in the background of the video, but it's not going to be a step-by-step guide. So, breaking it down, let's talk about the map itself. Easter egg aside and all the steps you have to do, how I like the map. And so, the map is broken down into really three, if you want to really make it complicated, 4 sections, right? There's the underground sewer section, the streets, and then the building. That's really how I tend to break it down. And so, the street section, that's really something that, you know, we've seen before. You see that type of stuff all the time in pretty much every Zombies map. There's nothing too unique or interesting there. The sewers, the underground area where you do a lot of the Easter egg stuff. I like that area a lot. It's not something that is crazy unique. It reminds me a lot of the kind of if you go back to Transit, what was that, 9 years ago on Black Ops 2, that area that you'd pass through, you could hop off and get the M16, I believe it was, stuff like that. And the city part really reminds me of town. Now, my personal favorite part of this map are just the buildings, the high-rises, the skyscrapers, the hotel, and I really like this area, I think mainly just because it's a combination of what Zombies typically does. Like if you look at the streets, for example, it's just really large open area and then tight, narrow choke points to exit, whether it's into the sewer or into the pack-a-punch area. And the buildings just allow for all of that just in one area, right? You have the hallways and the corridors and the doorways of the inside of the building, which is all tight and compact and where you can get stuck on a bunch of zombies. But it's also really good for training. And then you have the rooftops, which are just these big open areas where you can run around, get all the zombies gathered up, get a lot of grenade kills, make some crawlers, stuff like that. So just from a map design standpoint, if we're just going to play this and survive, not messing around with the Easter egg or any of that stuff, we're just playing to survive waves of zombies, I like this map a lot. I think it pretty much has everything that you'd want from a Zombies map. It combines things really well and has a lot of large training areas. And so, again, that's just the map itself and the survivability of it. I guess that's what you want to call it. And so that's only part of Zombies. The other part of it, and I think, at least for me personally, what's significantly more interesting is the Easter egg side of it. And the puzzles and doing all of this long story stuff to actually get an ending to the map and officially beat it. So a lot of people have been saying this is the hardest, most difficult Easter egg in Zombies ever, and while no Easter egg can possibly be harder than Origins, so that immediately just disclaimer right there, Origins will forever be the hardest Easter egg. So if you don't know what Origins is, you're lucky. But this is a very difficult Easter egg, and not that it has you fighting, you know, hard bosses or doing difficult 360 no-scopes and hitting invisible targets or something crazy like that. Well, a lot of other Easter eggs, specifically if you look at the first map that released with Cold War, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the steps you could do quickly and all together, right? For example, you can get into the power, get the power on, you know, get a couple of the parts, the pack-a-punch you need. You can do that in under 4 rounds probably, and I know we've actually done it. You can complete the entire Easter egg in 15 rounds or less. And so what makes this new map so difficult is, like on other maps, we could do step A, B, and C during the entirety of the round and all in one round at the same time. And not saying this is new to zombies, it's just never been, this important and this to this level before. Essentially, you have to do step A, and you can only do it from this time to this time in the round. Then you have step B, and you can only do it from this time to this time in the round, right? And a lot of just tedious, if you don't want to die, you have to have crawlers type stuff. For example, there's a certain step where you're filling up canisters, a lot like the second map. So on that second map, I want to say it was Outbreak, but maybe that's the game mode, I don't know. The one where they introduced the mimics, right? And you had to kill those mimics in specific areas, and while the wave was also going on at the same time, and then get the stuff from the mimics and deposit it somewhere else. You do that same thing here with canisters and with the guys from Black Ops 2, the lightning guy from Transit. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but you have to go to specific locations, kill them in this area, gather up their energy, whatever you want to call it, and bring it back to this other area. And so, because this forces you to do things, incrementally, wave by wave by wave, by the time you get to that point, you're at such a high wave where unless you have really good weapons and luck with the mystery box, or there are 4 of you and you're all really good, you can't just be running around, chilling, doing your thing mid-wave. You have to really narrow down the number of zombies because it spawns bosses and more enemies. And so the reason this Easter egg is so difficult is because instead of being 10 steps, and I'm just making that number up, it's 25. And instead of being 25 steps that you can do at whatever pace you want, however quickly you want, because realistically, the first map in Cold War, for example, the only limiter, really, is when that first boss shows up and he spits on that mushroom on the tree, and other than that, you're pretty much good to go. You can go whatever pace, you want to go as quick, as slow as you want to go. Here, and, like I said, this isn't completely original, they've done this before, but the first step to really, getting to the point where you can progress the Easter egg at your own pace, you can't even get to until wave 10. So that sticks you at least 10 waves where you're just stuck waiting. Now that being said, the difficulty and the lengthy amount of time it takes, this is probably my favorite Easter egg in Cold War out of the 3 maps right now. Because the first one's cool, it's alright, I think my favorite wonder weapon, but a lot of the things I feel like are just literally impossible to figure out without looking it up. And I'm not saying that I'm ever going to do one of these Easter eggs without looking it up. I mean, that probably takes a person hours and hours, which is how long it takes me just to beat it, knowing exactly what to do. But the first, Cold War Zombies map, it was difficult. There was some parts of it you could figure out without looking it up, like the journal stuff. You have to talk to some of the ghosts. You see the little portals floating around, or just, walking around, seeing things to interact with. And then the second map, there's not a chance. You cannot do that without looking it up. I mean, you literally have to kill mimics in certain spots to get certain things, to plug into a certain thing. Like, you cannot do that without looking it up. It's so specific. And not that there's not some of that here, but a lot of stuff. For example, the step you're seeing here, we have to dig up stuff in this turret area, right? Naturally, you want to dig this stuff up because it looks interesting and you can press it and it's shiny. So you will press X on it and you will find the part once you dig enough stuff up and you've progressed the Easter egg. Same thing with the robot when you get to some of those steps. Again, not all of them, like him stopping the train. That's a step that you're not going to figure out naturally. Now, if you're just messing around, you might figure that out, but that's something that you will have to look up. But him upgrading him from getting kills and just letting him fight zombies and getting him stronger and stronger, again, that's something you can do naturally. And so, well, I understand a zombies map can't be entirely, natural progression, because then it would be too easy and it wouldn't be challenging. And so, realistically, the way I look at this Easter egg is it's broken up into 3 main parts, right? So, again, this is my quick tutorial walkthrough because I didn't get my footage that somehow got corrupted by recording the wrong input anyways. So step 1, I'm going to call is the power step. I'm not going to do it step by step, but essentially you need to get down into the sewers, turn the power on, then come over here to the Pack-a-Punch, get the satellite piece, get the robot up and going, get him to kill some zombies, upgrade him a bit, break the wall down in the sewer, and then once you've broken that wall, that's what I would call the end of step 1, right? And there's probably a 40,000 step guide where it tells you how to do each thing individually, but that's really what I call, phase 1 of the Easter egg. That's like a checkpoint in my mind. You've made it past the first initial stage, because it gets significantly harder from here. Alright, now from here, it's really not going to become a step-by-step guide, because that's what you want. They're out there, you can read them, watch them, and I was going to do that, but because of how long this is, that would have been an over-hour video. So I'm combining a general analysis with the review. And so now we're on to what I'm calling step 2. To my right, which I just ran past, that is the room I'm talking about. That's where step 2 starts. Go in there, survive a wave or 2 fighting zombies. You don't have to stay in there. You come out, you run around the map, do your thing. Once you survive your wave or 2, there'll be this little thing in the middle of the room. It'll unlock. You'll see it. It's not small. It's a big thing in the middle of the room. Get the canisters out of there. You run around, find these little green canisters to put them in around the map. You'll see them. They're small. They can spawn near Speed Cola down in the basement, by Juggernog, all around the map. You'll see them. And you put them in there. Then you got to get these traps, spawn the Tempest. I remember what they're called now. And kill the Tempest, drown the traps. This was the step I was talking about earlier. Once it's charged up, very typical zombies thing. You got to carry it all the way back down to the basement. Put all 3 of them in the thing. You're good to go. You've done that step. Next, what you gotta do is, I believe the warhead is the next step. You take the robot, you do the train, you put him in front of the train, he stops the train, all that good stuff. Now I'm realizing now that I skipped part 1, talking about the code and the black light and all of that stuff. Again, general walkthrough, not doing a step-by-step. So now that you stopped the train, gotten the warhead, attached it back on that canister thing in that sewer room that we've been talking about, done that, you've done pretty much the hard part. Now you gotta get uranium, and this is where what I call step 3 starts. So you go into the robot room, you'll know what I'm talking about if you have a general idea, if you've played the map a few times. And so when you go in there, you freaking go, you touch the computer, and you just keep touching it until you can't touch it anymore. A big laser will shoot down to one of the roofs, come out upstairs, bosses will drop down, you kill the bosses. You do your little thing, fighting off zombies, thinning them out. And some uranium will spawn. You gotta pick up this uranium. It damages you like 2 ticks a second. Every time you're carrying it, bring it to workbenches. Craft it in a workbench. Some workbenches work, some don't. I don't know the logic behind it. But you bring it to some workbenches, you craft it, then you bring it over to the zip lines to my right now. I will probably head over there. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's the one that goes from the Speed Cola roof right here on the sign to the Quick Revive roof. And so you got to put the 2 pieces of uranium on each side. They get smashed together. You get a new thing. You grab that. You bring it down to that canister thing in the basement. Put it on there. Do that whole uranium process again. Now you're in the end game. Alright? You've done that twice now. You activate it. The boss shows up. And if you look towards the end of the room, that's one of those green boxes where you kill the Tempests and charge up the canisters that I was talking about earlier. And so you're in the boss battle now. You're going to start in that bottom room that we've been talking about. And again, if you're looking for a step-by-step guide, you're going to be so lost by now. But if you've played it, you're just struggling on a step or 2 and need some more clarification and wanted a review also, you're in the right place, alright? And so you're in that final room, you're in the boss fight, you shoot her shields come down, then you do a little bit of damage to her shields go back up, over and over again. She really has 4 moves, I guess if you break it down, right? So she'll shoot crystals at you, that's the most obvious, like, you need to get out of the way move. Then she has this ability where everyone or everything in her line of sight gets destroyed. So you're going to want to just get behind something whenever she does that one. She'll spawn hellhounds occasionally, and then her last attack, if that's what you want to call it, is she can heal, right? She'll spawn zombies up and she'll heal. Don't make the same mistake I did, where you think that, oh, well, her health's not going up very fast, we're fine, we can take forever. No, it's more of, it goes up in increments type thing. After 5 seconds, she gains like a quarter of her health back, so you need to kill these zombies quick. And so you take down X amount of her health, and she'll teleport to a new location, you fight her there, X amount of health, new location, X amount of health, new location, you do that over and over again. This is the safe room I was talking about from earlier, with the black light. Again, that's in my step 1 area, that's what you want to call it. And so, from there, really, you've pretty much done it at that point, you just fight her. That's pretty straightforward, there's not much more to explain. And so, again, just a quick walkthrough. Now that we've gone through that, what are like my overall thoughts on the map as a whole? And now, thinking back on it, I didn't really play Black Ops 4 Zombies. Like, I tried it. I think I literally played it twice. That's the one with, like, the Gladiator Arena and, like, the Titanic or something. I think I played it 2 or 3 times. I was like, yeah, this sucks. And I never played it again. Black Ops 3, I played the, that, like, 1950 map, I think, where, like, you have to, like, wall run or something in, like, a dungeon. I don't know. It's very, very vague, right? I vaguely remember it. And so, again, I didn't beat that. Like, just, like, messed around and survived. So I haven't played zombies in the last time. The last zombies I beat was World War II zombies, I think, before Cold War. And so, this is probably my favorite map and Easter egg since Black Ops 2. I think that's safe to say. Because, again, I like the map a lot. It has the inside, the outside, the underground, the rooftops. The zip lines really help. If you get overrun, you can just zip line to another building and the zombies can't really follow you. You get a couple seconds to heal. You know, my only complaints with the map as a whole and the Easter egg are the workbenches. And so, there's a lot of workbenches on the first Cold War map. I think also on the second Zombies Cold War map, they're just everywhere. You can get your monkey bombs, your C4. Typically what my loadout consists of: monkey bombs, C4, a self-revive, and like a chopper gunner or something, right? And so there's a lot of those. They're very accessible on those maps. And I feel like here, at least if you're training on the street level, which I feel like, especially once you open this spot in front of me that I just ran by that I didn't know about the first time that I played, you can open that connection to the Pack-a-Punch. Once you open that, you have a lot of room on street level to run around. And so that really allows you to open things up and train well down there. But everything you need is in the buildings. All of your perks, your workbenches. And so some of that stuff's not as accessible as I would like it to be, you know, trying to do stuff in between rounds, but it is what it is. Besides that, I like the map a lot. If I had to give the map a number, I don't think I've ever actually rated a zombies map, but I'd give this one like a 7 or an 8. It's good. Like, you know, I enjoyed it. I enjoy the map. The Easter egg's fun. It's actually quite difficult, but that also brings into account replayability. I probably won't play this again because it's hard and it's a lot of work. I mean, with this Wave 10 kind of Stage 1 cap that I was talking about earlier, which you're seeing us do right now actually, the problem with this is you gotta spend a good 30-45 minutes before you really get into the meat and potatoes of the Easter egg. And I'm talking first run through, not really a clue what you're doing, just following a guide. This would probably take you close to 3 hours. Now, once you refine your routes and figure out, okay, well, this way I can do this around sooner, and this person needs to get these kills so they can buy this, and all of that stuff. Once you do all of that, you can probably get it down to an hour and a half, maybe under 20 waves if you're really quick. But we finished, I want to say, in the mid-20s, and that was pushing it. I mean, we did mess around for a wave or two, and you do have to rely on AI a bit, not so much for the zombies, but for the robot. When you need him to do certain things, he can just walk in circles, so it's iffy, but you can realistically expect to do this in 2 hours. Now, final thing, 2 things I want to address. I guess I want to talk about the Wonder Weapon, because I haven't really talked about that, and I do think it's worth talking about. And so, the first map, it was the elemental beam, vacuum, suction type thing, right? You start out with the air, and then you get the ice, toxic, electricity, and fire. Then on the second map, what was it, like an AK with like a grenade launcher on it? That one was really lame, and the more and more I, continue through this video and thinking about the second map wasn't that good. And I mean, like, my videos on it did good, but as a map, it really wasn't that great of a map. But the Wonder Weapon here has, I believe, 3-4 variants. There's the way it comes on default, which is like a pistol that has like a little bot next to it that also shoots at the same time, so you're shooting 2 bullets at once. That just does a lot of damage. That's kind of the default state of it. And unlike the other Wonder Weapon in the first map, it's not where you go from fire to ice and you have ice and that's it. Here you start with fire, let's say, and unlock ice, and again, I'm just saying elements to make it simpler. And once you've used all the ammo and ice, you revert back to fire. And so that's kind of how this works. They have a beam version that's pretty much a flamethrower. They have like a crossbow type Chewbacca thing that shoots a bunch of damage horizontally. And there's a couple of cool things here and there. I really just like. So the other thing I want to talk about is the new field upgrade, I believe is what it's called, and mule kick coming back. And so I actually didn't even use mule kick here because we're so busy with the Easter egg that we don't have time for a third gun and just trying to speed through it as quick as possible, so I didn't use it. But it's mule kick. It's cool that it's back. It works the same. Now, the new field upgrade, I believe is what it's called. I'm using it here. It's this vine thing that once you upgrade it all of the way, you get 3 charges and you set down a wall of vines, and it slows and damages the zombies. Once you upgrade it more through those crystals you get from playing and extracting and all of that stuff, it does some cooler stuff like exploding them and causing them to do even more damage, just stuff like that. And something I found interesting, I don't know if it's something they did between map 2 and 3 or 1 and 2 and I just missed it, but there's 5 upgrades now for each skill, if that's what you want to call it. So before there were 3 assault rifle upgrades, 3 juggernaut upgrades, 3 field upgrades. Now there's a 5th level to everything. So if you want to just grind it out and essentially you're a completionist and want to have all the upgrades for everything, then there's more stuff for you to do there, but that requires a lot of extracting. And so this is my review / walkthrough of Zombies map. I like it a lot. I think it's quite good. I'm assuming they're going to have one more. I'm not sure how they're going to, top of this one, because I don't think you can get much more difficult. I think if you make it much longer, it gets to the point where it's too tedious and annoying. I mean, once you really hit wave 30 in zombies, you're, triple pack-a-punch mag dumping zombies. So bosses are just going to be impossible. But again, who knows? Maybe it'll be the best thing ever. We'll see. But let me know what you guys think of the map and the Easter egg down in the comments below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video.